And he's 8:40 in the morning. Open air law continuation. It is November 18th, 2024. I am pissed off thoroughly. On CNN, you got the Oklahoma superintendent being sued over the Bible mandate, and he's laughing his head off. He's smirking like crazy. One of the news anchors for this morning on CNN, and he's trying to tear her apart. Well, the Bible's important here. The Bible, and it's like he's not listening. He doesn't care. His agenda will be done because he's on some kind of holier now mandate at this point. I hate to tell this son of a bitch. This is what the hell is his asshole's name? Oklahoma State Superintendent Ryan Walters. Now, actually for a long while, apparently, I don't know how long, either been in years or something like that, but ever since he's been in office, he's been on this holier than thou crusade of installing religion in school, sneaking it in there as a history book. Bible will be studied as a history book, and therefore it's got to be supplied. Screw everybody else. I mean, screw the Quran or any other followings at this point. The Bible must be shown because according to him, it's history. It's history. Problem is, it's not verifiable. It's not verifiable. We can look at the Bible for verification of things that have happened, but unless we have other sources to confirm it all. I mean, yes, we did get a Rosetta Stone. Yes, we get translations of a lot of ancient texts, but they still haven't verified the flood. They found an ark. Was it the ark? We don't know. Did Sodom and Gomorrah ever existed? Wiped off the face of the earth? And the major one that's usually affecting everybody else it has to be accepted on faith is whether or not Jesus Christ actually existed and walked on the earth. Now, for a lot of us Christians, we do believe in it because that's what we were taught. And yes, there had been people saying that we found the place where Jesus was hung and also buried in a tomb, maybe born. Did all the aspects in the Bible actually help us out with the creation of the Declaration of Independence or the U.S. Constitution, or prior to that, the Articles of Confederation? Were there any elements of it? And even though our leaders may talked about it in their journals as personal notes, does it add relevance to having religion governing our government? It is supposed to be for the people, by the people, of the people, not by a religion, not by Sharia law. We've already seen extreme examples of this happening. Iran's one of those places, major place in our history, most violent one I remember. A takeover of an embassy, kidnapping, murdering, failed rescue attempt, and then a bit of negotiation or actually some kind of threat from an incoming president that he would send the military in there to get him out. He had sent Carter had sent two choppers, didn't work for whatever reason. Hijacking of an embassy is tantamount to war. We've been on unofficial war. We've been on unofficial war footing with Iran for decades, since the storming of the embassy and a takeover of Iran. But no, it was just basically the storming of the embassy and killing people. And they didn't care. So naturally, we got rotten feelings and rotten dealings with Iran at this point over here. We got rotten opinions about them. Throughout decades, I've been hearing about it all from different people left and right. Snide remarks, and if there was any Iranian Americans around, they were getting assaulted left and right, if not assaulted left and right. 9/11 hit than anybody of Middle Eastern ascent or even looking. Well, they were open season, weren't they? There's a lot of anger and a lot of vitriol regarding religion. Religion is supposed to be giving us a basis of what our morals are supposed to be, what our behavioral code is, how we're supposed to be acting towards people and of situations, codes and customs, but not of using anger and vitriol. And unfortunately, people who use religion that way have been getting bloody reputations over it, isn't it? And Christians have. Going over to the Middle East many times to bring them into the fold, so to speak, capturing territory. Conversion. And this is okay with us? Out here, currently, we have people trying to convert people into religion, into one particular religion. If you are of a different religion other than Christianity, you are open season. Either you're going to be converted or else. And fill in the blank on that one. That's how it's happening. We got a state superintendent in a state that hadn't been recalled yet. If they had a recall function, they should have recalled this guy. There's a petition out there to recall him. And the superintendent wanted to send this video over to every school and have everybody watch it. He's that adamant regarding forcing religion down people's throat. Morning prayers in a school? It's one thing we're doing a Pledge of Allegiance. That's one thing that you're pledging allegiance to a country, to ideals, to beliefs, to the freedoms, and everything else the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence stood for. What our history stood for. But how does religion take more precedent over that? How does it take precedent over that? So the question would be, the question is already passed through to this guy who doesn't care. He wants his religion forced upon people. He keeps saying the Bible is history. You've got to learn from the Bible. Well, you can go to church and learn about it from the Bible, or do your own church groups. But in public education, that's what you're screwing around with. It's one thing if you're in a private institution that has that, such as Catholic school. I understand that's constant right there. And no one argues about that because it's private. It's not publicly funded. We're talking taking money from the people's pocket at this point over here to publicly fund a religion to be enforced. Despite the fact that he keeps saying, well, the Bible's history. The Bible's history. The Bible is religious. It is religion. It is a faith book. I've got professors in college who may look at it from time to time as a history. That's college. That's up to them. That's up to them people to decide whether or not they're going to be allowing that in the higher institutions. We're talking about K through 12. But should it also be allowed in the public educations, in the public institutions, for example, community colleges? Now, I'm in one. Antelope Valley College of Lancaster, California. I've been there for nearly 10 years. Taking 2 classes at a time, sometimes taking a little bit of a break because the situation's happening. And I had a teacher that I did a couple of courses with him concerning about world civilization. And yes, we did talk about the Bible. But we only covered a little bit of it. We didn't do an entire chapter or 3 or 4 weeks or the entire semester on it. We're not doing entire years of college on it. It is a public entity. And it is up to the Board of Trustees and then to the state to decide whether or not if the material fits criteria or not. And if it does, they'll do it. And they're hoping that this doesn't enforce or inflict religion down people's throats. He kept apologizing. This is not about religion. But we are trying to compare some notes here. It's one thing if I'm an adult and if I'm in a community college course, I could have just said, I'm setting this one out. I am not doing the Bible. But he wasn't doing a unit, he wasn't doing a chapter, he was just mentioning it. But he wasn't reinforcing it. Saying, well, this has to be felt, this has to be done. This is about Christianity, you're going to be doing this. No. He was covering the Old Testament. He was not exactly covering the New Testament. He was covering the Old Testament. Certain portions of it may or may not have been verified. But he kept telling us history can be rewritten if it's verifiable. Maybe, maybe not. If we actually had documentary information, but this is all hearsay from thousands of years ago. You know, it's even more realistic. Caveman drawings compared to the Bible. Caveman drawings showing artistic impressions of what happened. They did. I think people had done radiological exams on it to see. They carbon dated to see how old they were. A lot older than the Bible. But we don't have any other kind of documents to support or any other feeders concerning about the Bible, do we? Except what was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls and then translated from one language to another language to another language throughout the millennium or two or three, depending how old they were in the jars. Very old, very fragile. Would we consider the stories the Library of Alexandria proof? We had hints from other sources that it existed, but was it real? A library that had works from every place that anyone else has visited, either copied or brought over to the library for storage. And it took one Roman emperor, one Roman Caesar, to burn everything else down. Very few lasted, very few survived. I'm still going to go against what Walters had said. He's forcing religion down people's throats. I don't like that. I don't care if he's calling it history or not. It's forcing a religion down people's throat. If you want to compromise, have them write a damn release form saying, I'm releasing my kid from this study. And send it over to the superintendent. Have 1,000 of them. Have maybe 100,000 of them saying, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. But he wants people to watch the video. Well, it's out there. It's on social media. It's also on Fox. It's broadcasted on YouTube out there for people to watch. And that is my dog. She wants me to come back inside with her again. Things I have to deal with on a reality basis. At least that's realistic. Walters is a head game.